In the shadowed valley of Elmswood, the air carried a perpetual mist that draped over the sprawling woodland like a weary sigh. Nestled within this muted sanctuary was the quaint and long-forgotten town of Creve, known to outsiders by little more than rumours and folklore, woven into tales spoken in hushed tones around distant campfires. Creve was once vibrant, with laughter bubbling through its cobblestone streets and the sweet fragrance of wild roses perfuming the air. Yet, as time's relentless march wore on, so too did the spirit of the town diminish. Houses once bright with paint now stood cloaked in a sombre palette, aged by the unyielding hands of sorrow and neglect. The heartache that gripped Creve was rooted deep within its history, in the memory of a tragedy that had pilfered the joy from its residents. A shipwreck off the misty coast that had claimed the lives of 23 souls, many of whom were pillars of the community. Among them was Elira Wynne, a musician whose voice was said to have been the very breath of the town, her melodies a silken thread intertwining the hearts of those who heard her sing. Each year, as the chill of autumn rekindled the memory of that fateful storm, the town observed a mournful tradition. The Festival of Remembrance, it was solemnly called, where tales of the lost were shared, not with the zest of revelry, but with the weight of stones in the hearts of the speakers. The event most anticipated, and by some feared, was the ceremonial dirge performed by Elira's closest kin. This year, it was her great-niece, Corinne, who inherited the task. Though young, her soul seemed aged by the generational grief she carried, a grief she knew through stories whispered as lullabies in the darkness of her childhood room. On the eve of the remembrance, the town gathered in the dim light of twilight at the old wooden pier, looking out towards the sea like mourners by a grave. Corinne stood before them, cradling an ancient violin, its wood glossy under the touch of countless bereaved fingers before hers. The instrument was said to possess the last remnants of Elira's spirit, imbued into its very grain on the night of the storm. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, painting the sky in hues of bruised purple and deep blues, Corinne lifted her bow. The first note cut through the silence, a piercing, melancholy sound that seemed to weep for the past. The subsequent melody was one of haunting beauty, intertwining the currents of loss and remembrance, each note a whispered tale of someone who had been more than a mere name in the town's lore. The music swelled like the tides, ebbing and flowing around the assembled crowd, each individual enveloped in their own intimate dance with memory. In Corinne's melody, they heard the laughter of those lost, felt the warmth of parted embraces, and relived moments forever etched in the heart's most protected crevices. As the final note quivered into stillness, a collective sigh embraced the crowd, like a comforting hand laid upon a quivering shoulder. Eyes, glistening with the sheen of unshed tears under the starlit sky, turned towards the sea, as if expecting the past to emerge from the depths. No words were spoken as the townsfolk began to disperse, the weight of the annual ritual hanging heavy on their shoulders, yet oddly soothing, an acknowledgement that though those they loved were gone, they were never truly forgotten. Corinne remained alone by the water's edge, her fingers lingering on the violin strings, unwilling to release the connection just yet. In the lapping waves, she felt the presence of her great-aunt Elira, a comforting whisper in the confluence of sea and wind. With heavy heart and violin in hand, she finally turned from the sea, the echo of her dirge a solemn serenade to the past, each step towards home a promise to remember and endure, year after aching year.